Happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Get in here. Y'all, I swear to God, this time change has some melanin in it. It is 8:35 and it feels like it is 12:35. Y'all know I tell y'all this all the time. I have literally been an auntie my entire life. But for whatever reason, it totally feels like this time change has a little bit of melanin in it. I am, hey RN Dunn 63. I'm sleepy, but y'all know how we Capricorns do. When we say we are going to do something, we do it. So because I gave you my word that I will be here on Tuesday, I am here on Tuesdays. It is Tuesday. On Tuesdays, we Homegirl Huddle. So hey, homegirls, and welcome to my Homegirl Huddle. This is a safe space where we have sacred conversation about all things self-love, self-care, and self-mastery as it pertains to being a woman. Before we get into this juicy topic, I want to preface this conversation like I do them all. If the panties fit, keep them on. If they do not, by all means, take them off. Let me write my signature comment. While I do that, tell me how you are. Tell me how you feel, how you be. Tell me. Oh, sure. I gotta get my fingers together, child. 3 women you love. Why does it take me so long to type this out? All right. Oh, let me pin it. All right, so let's dive into this juicy topic. Tonight, we're talking about your needs. I just want to first off remind you that your needs are important. I don't care what they are. They're important. And I just have to be transparent and be completely honest. What has inspired me to have this conversation inside of our Homegirl Huddle is I am just proud is the word of how far I've come in terms of advocating for my needs. Child, listen, I remember when there was a time where I would literally pull my hair out as thick as it is, strand by strand, before I asked somebody for what it is I need or ask for help. So I want you to tell me in the comments, even if you're watching the replay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable are you? How comfortable are you with asking for help or asking for what it is you need? So tell me on a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable are you with asking for what it is you need? And then I'll keep going. I really do. I remember when it was extremely hard for me, I would feel like I was suffering in silence. I would feel resentful. I would feel like I had to do everything by myself. You know how we say, I need a me for me. That was literally the theme of my life. That was literally the theme of my life. Like I was wanting help. I was needing support. But again, I would much rather like pull every single strand of my hair out before I asked for what it is I needed. And then I got to a place where I realized that wasn't working for me. I seen a meme that said something to the effect of, and I'm paraphrasing, if people love you, they should just kind of know what you need. Like you shouldn't have to communicate it to them. And I know for a fact, because I've been there before, especially as women, we kind of feel like that in regards to romantic relationships. Like if he loves me, he should know, what I need. He should know, what it takes to make me happy, so on and so forth. And granted, when you're in a relationship long enough, you get to know each other and you pick up on certain things. But advocating for your needs is a powerful act of self-love. And so what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to support you in understanding how you do that in a way that really does support you in getting the needs met. Because it's totally pointless if you need something and then you don't feel empowered enough to ask for it. I am realizing as I continue my own personal, healing journey, that a lot of why we don't ask for what it is we need is because we grew up in an environment where our needs were not considered. And so we learned as a trauma response to do everything on our own. And we kind of like take pride in doing everything on our own. And kudos to you if you're one of those people who know how to meet your own needs. But I always say meeting your needs is a two-way street. Part of it is you advocating for what it is you need. And then the other part of it is being able to be in relationships with people who support you in getting those needs met. So we're going to keep this thing going. But like I said, believing you have to do it all on your own. Growing up with overly critical parent, I used to think asking for help is a sign of weakness. 10 years of therapy changed my mindset. Absolutely. Is it Dal? I don't know how to pronounce your name. Is it Dalneen? Is that how you say it? Dalnine? Tell me how to say it. I want to say it properly. But absolutely. And that's exactly... Oh, my name is Claire. So, okay, Claire is much easier. I don't know how to pronounce your IG handle. Claire is much easier. So, yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what I'm referring to. When we grow up in an environment where we learn that it's not safe to advocate for what it is we need, we learn as a trauma response and kind of by way of being in survival mode that we have to do it all on our own. But if you say you learned through therapy, so you're well practiced at trying to do it all on your own, and you know where that gets you. It gets you tired, it gets you resentful, it gets you burned out, it can feel lonely, you can feel like, and a lot of times when we are acting out of a trauma response when we are not comfortable with asking for help or asking for our needs to be met, a lot of times we are really good at meeting other people's needs because we've learned how to read between the lines. We've learned how to, study people and figure out what it is they need. We show up for them in a very powerful way in hopes that they will do the same thing for us. But it's just like everybody doesn't operate like that. And so the best thing you can do for yourself, like I said a few minutes ago, showing up for yourself and meeting your needs and advocating for your needs is a powerful act of self-love. I know a lot of times when we talk about self-love, hey Mimi, we're totally only talking about the surface level conversation. So, I got my hair done, I put some makeup on, I'm going out with my girls for brunch and I'm getting a pedicure. And it's just like, yeah, that's only a little small portion of what it means to love yourself. But actually knowing what it is you need and being willing to advocate for those needs is one of the best things that you can learn how to do. And so, I want to support you in understanding how to do that. Y'all know me. I'm a huge fan of simplicity. We talk about all the time how knowledge is power. And I tell you every single Tuesday, that's bullshit. Knowledge is not power. It's only power if you know how to apply it. So not only am I going to teach you how to meet your needs, I'm going to give it to you in a way that really supports you in going and practicing in that life. Practicing it in your life so that you can actually see transformation, so that you can actually affect change. So let's get into this. So when you're meeting your needs, it's gonna feel uncomfortable. So if you are someone who's accustomed to suffering in silence and feeling resentful or, waiting for people to figure out what it is you need, when you start asking for what you need, child honey, listen. It's not going to feel good. You're going to have all type of sensations is a better word, sensations in your body. Trust me when I tell you, because listen, we're preaching to the choir at this point. But it's going to be uncomfortable. You may feel nervous. You may feel some tightness in your chest. You may feel, your stomach may feel queasy. You may be sitting on the edge of your seat to see what the person is going to say, like after you ask for it. I don't care if your voice trembles, if your stomach tightens, if your chest gets tight, you still have to do it. And you're not doing it necessarily so that person can absolutely do what you're asking for. You're doing it because you're acting from a space of knowing that you are worthy of being supported. You're worthy of being loved. You're worthy of being understood. And that's the space that you're doing it from. So, that person still gets to decide how they show up for you. And then based on how they show up, you get to make a decision. But first things first is you want to frame it. You want to ask or state it in a positive way. So many times when you're well practiced at not advocating for your needs, you only advocate for the needs in a reactive way. So it's been 4 or 5 months you're dealing with somebody and they're just not doing it the way that you need it done, or your friend is just not showing up for you, and then all of a sudden you just snap. And you say, you never take me out on dates, or you're never, there for me when how I'm there for you, or you never do whatever the thing is. Y'all know how we do. It's not just me. It's us. You're here for a reason. So you know how you do. You know what you say, but usually you're reframing it, you're stating it from the space of not having the need met. And a lot of times it comes out as very critical. It's hard for somebody to respond to that. So if you, say something like, I never really feel supported by you, immediately that person is going to be on the defense, and it's just like, I do support you, or they're trying to refute what it is you're saying, versus if you frame it in a positive way and you say, I would really appreciate, when I called you, if you, could take some time and really listen to me without a lot of distraction in the background. Or if you say, when I have a really long day, I would really appreciate if you could, give me a hug. Whatever the need is, you want to state it in a way to where you're giving somebody the opportunity to actually show up for you. But if you are criticizing, if you are just being really, for lack of a better term, mean-spirited and accusatory when you're saying it, it's probably not going to go over well. And that's not because the person doesn't want to show up for you. It's because it's really hard to receive it. If I said to you, Mimi, you never answer the phone when I call, chances are you're not going to receive that. Versus if you say, when I call you, it's because I really want to talk to you. Can you make some time to talk to me? That's a different conversation, but it's also still you advocating for what it is you need. Tell me in the comments if that makes sense to you. So you want to frame it, in a positive way. This is where it gets a little bit tricky, because when you are uncomfortable with asking for what you need, this is what we typically do. We say it one time and that's it. It's just like, once I say it, you should get it. I should not have to say it over and over and over and over again. Well, the master of transformation is repetition plus emotion. You have to say it, especially if you are learning and growing with the person. You may have to say it more than one time. So the next part of communicating and advocating for your needs is going to be seeing the need through. And so that's exactly what I mean when I say see it through. You may have to ask again. You may have to remind them, babe, I know we talked about this before, but I really love it when the trash is taken out before I get home. And, he may do good for a month, and then he may slip up. That is not grounds to go back to what you used to do. Meaning you never take the trash out. You haven't taken the trash out in 2 weeks. Whatever it is. I'm just using that for an example. It takes practice. It gets easier when you think of it as self-care. No one else is going to do it for you. Absolutely. And you make a really good point, Claire. It is self-care. And it's a self-care that is lifelong. You have to do this for the rest of your life. Your needs are your responsibility. And so if you're not willing to advocate for them or to communicate them, you kind of can't get mad if the person isn't showing up the way that you want them to show up. So again, you want to reiterate it. You want to have the conversation as many times, as you need to have the conversation. And so even when you say what it is you need, I would encourage you to also put a question at the end of it. Do you mind taking out the trash, making sure the trash is taken out when I get home? Is that okay with you? Can you do that? And then that way you have some level of agreement, some way of knowing if this person is or isn't going to do it. Again, this is not to guilt, shame, and blame the person. It's for you, and we're going to keep going through this, but it's for you to get a clear picture of, is this person able to show up? And keyword, support me in meeting my needs. I know for me, when I'm in romantic relationships, consistency is really important for me. And so at the very beginning, I'm letting that be known. A lot of times what we like to do in relationships is in the beginning, we want to play it cute. We want to play it coy. We want to, make it seem like, oh, I'm not really on that. Or I don't want to make it seem like I'm waiting on him to call me. The more honest, open, authentic you are about what you need in the beginning, the easier it is, A, to receive it, and B, to know if this person is the person who can support you. So if I show up to a relationship and don't make it known that consistency is really important to me, and then I'm just kind of going along to get along, and then we're, 7-8 months into dating, and then now I'm like, well, you never call me. You only call me twice a week. Well, you didn't let them know that was something that you prefer in the beginning. But like I said, a lot of times we're wanting to hold our cards close to our chest because we don't want to seem needy. I want you to really listen to me what I'm about to say next, which is having needs does not make you needy. It makes you human. I promise you, every single person, I don't care what race, I don't care what gender, I don't care what age, has needs. And you have needs. It's okay. And it's okay to express those needs. Because again, not because you're, making someone else responsible, but because exactly what Claire said, that is a form of self-love. That is a form of self-care, to advocate for what it is you need. So we went through 2 steps already. One is you want to frame it in a positive way. Speak from your heart. Speak from, the part of you that actually loves and cares about this person. And then 2, you want to check in. If you have to say it more than once, it's okay. It's not because they don't care. It's not because they're not listening. It's just the nature of being human. If you think about what it takes for you to change or to do something different, it can be extremely challenging. And so you have to kind of think of that when you're speaking to somebody else, especially if it's not something that this person naturally does or is well practiced at. You may have to say it more than once. Don't be shy about saying it more than once. Also, don't be shy about stating if the need changes. Again, you want to see it through. So follow it through. Say it as many times as you need to say it. The next thing is where we really get into trouble. We say, and I used to do this a lot, oh, I need you to be more consistent. What the hell does that mean? If I say to you, I need you to be more consistent, what it means to you may be something totally different to somebody else. And so the more you paint the picture of what it actually looks like to meet your need, 2 things. You give them clear instruction. And then the second thing is you can really discern and tell if they're actually meeting the need. But if you just say, I need you to be more consistent, or I need you to spend more time with me, or I need you to, be better with the finances, or I need you to pick the kids up from school, whatever it is, if you just say it and it's very general, then they're going to take it in a very general way. So you want to paint the picture. You want to get really specific. For me, when I'm dating somebody, especially if it's somebody that I'm exclusively dating, I need to hear from you every day. And for some people, that may seem needy. I don't care. That's my need. And that's what makes me feel really good in a relationship. And so I have to date people and connect with people who can do that for me. And so your needs in relationship may be different. You may only need to talk to that person twice a week, but it's still something that needs to be communicated, and you really need to paint the picture. Some of us have a need for, we talked about this, or it may not have been in a Homegirl Huddle, maybe in my private membership, but we talk about like how we have these 6 basic human needs. And so you have a need for variety, which means you need difference and fun and adventure. And so you may have a need for travel. If your partner or your friends don't have that same need, you may have to articulate that to them. So you could say, which will not get you very far, is we need to go on a trip. Okay. We need to go on a trip. Or you can say, can we, go on a trip, like make it a thing where we go on a trip like twice a year, maybe a spring vacation and a fall vacation, a summer vacation and a winter vacation, and then actually paint the picture. I want to go here. I would like to do these things. So it's really giving that person clear instruction. It's just like, if you want to think about it like this. If you get into your car and you put into the GPS, take me somewhere to have fun. That GPS is not, they have smart cars now. Chances are it's not going to take you to a specific place. But if you say, I want to go to, I'm just pulling things out of the air, Topgolf, or I want to go to a day party. That's more specific instructions. Or I want to go to this, brunch at this certain place, and you put in the address, it's going to take you specifically there. And so that's how you want to look at when you're advocating or communicating what it is you need. You want to be really specific with it. So if you want your partner to touch you more, how do you want to be touched? How do you want to be embraced? If you want to spend more quality time, how often do you want to spend the time? What are some of the things you would like to do when you're spending this quality time? Tell me in the comments if that makes sense to you. So 3 things so far. You want to state what it is you need, or ask for what it is you need in a positive, loving way to give them room to show up for you. Second thing is, you don't want to be shy about stating it multiple times or asking for it multiple times. If you have kids, let me tell you something. You know what it means to see a need through, because kids are relentless. They are not going to give up until they get what they want. They will, mom, 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 until you answer. And then whatever it is they want, can I have? You can say no 50 times, and they're still going to ask. And eventually, they're going to get what it is they're wanting or what it is they're needing. So they're not shy about asking again and again and again. And if we're being honest with ourselves, a lot of times we're afraid, of asking over and over again or stating it over and over again because we're scared of the rejection. And we're definitely scared of being needy. I'm reiterating this again. Having needs does not make you needy. It makes you human. You have needs, and you have a responsibility to advocate for those needs. And then paint the picture. So, tell them what it is you need. Babe, I need you, on Fridays after I get off from the week, I'm really tired. And so I would prefer if you can get the kids so that I can get some rest. When I'm rested, I just feel better, and I can, show up for you guys better. That's communication. That is specific instruction. That is painting the picture. So he knows, exactly what it is you need. And then he knows why that's important to you. When somebody cares about you, when somebody cares for you, 10 times out of 10, they want to show up for you, but they don't always know how to show up for you. I want you to literally cancel, clear, delete, write it down on a sheet of paper, ball it up, throw it away. People don't always just automatically know what you need. Yes, you have to say it. I don't care what social media says. Yes, you have to communicate it. You have to. And you have to get really good at it. So let's keep going. The next thing you want to do is the last thing, is you want to, I call it vetted and set it. Set it and vet it. Or vetted and set it. So what I'm meaning is this is where kind of like rubber meets the road. You want to ask for what it is you need because, again, people have a choice. They can meet your needs or they don't have to, but you also have a choice. You don't have to stay in situations that are not supporting you in meeting those needs. But if you don't ask for them, if you don't ask in a way that people really can hear you, if you don't ask specifically and help them to see clearly what it is you need, you are less likely to get the need met. So vetting simply means that after you ask for it, pay attention. Is this person making effort to meet my need? Are they making consistent effort to meet my need? And so you want to pay attention. You do not want, I'm going to encourage you to set a deadline because y'all know you've been in situations before where you've asked for something and then that person is like, maybe yes, they're gonna do it or whatever the case may be, and it never happens. Doesn't mean that person is good, bad, right, or wrong. What it means is you have a need and there's a high chance that this person is not in a space to meet it for whatever reason. But you don't have to go without the need just because that person is unwilling or incapable of meeting the need. But in order for you to know that, you have to vet the relationship. And then I would encourage you to set a deadline. I wouldn't communicate the deadline to the person. I would set a mental, I would, take a mental note, or even if you want to put it in your journal or wherever you kind of write to, stay in relationship with yourself. But you want to set a deadline so that you can see clearly if this person is willing, able, capable, all the things to show up for you in a way that you need them to show up for you. And then, once you have set that deadline, you get to make a decision. Are you going to continue moving forward with this connection or this relationship? And, sometimes certain relationships, are for certain things. Every relationship is not the same. I like to say every relationship is not a level 10 relationship. Some relationships are a level 2, and they're just going to be a level 2. But you have to make a decision where this person fits into your life based on how they're able to support you in meeting your needs. And so once you set that deadline is for you to make a decision. Does this person stay or go? If they go, how do I transition this relationship? And then if they stay, how am I categorizing this relationship? Like, how are we going to move forward in this relationship? So yeah, you definitely want to set a deadline. I think it's Tony Robbins that I heard say this for the first time. He said that it's not always that people don't ask for what they want. They ask the wrong people. This little simple 4-step process that I gave you may not be easy starting off, but it's very simple. This process is for you to determine if you're asking the right person. And their words are not what is not what determines if you're asking the right person. Their actions is what determines if you're asking the right person. Because like I said, sometimes people will say, yes, I can do it. Yeah, I'll do that. Sure. Whatever you need me to do. But their words say something while their actions is saying something completely different. And so you have to get really good at vetting and setting. Vet the relationship to see if it has the capacity, capability, willingness to support you in meeting those needs. And then you set a deadline. If you've been asking somebody for the same thing, depending on how invested you are in a relationship, if you've been asking for the same thing over and over and over and over again, you're 2 years into this thing and you haven't gotten that thing yet, that's an indication. That person may not be able to support you in a way that you need to be supported. Does that mean you don't deserve to have your needs met? Absolutely not. That means you have to find another source. And I talk about this all the time in my private community. You have to have a self-love and a self-care toolkit. You need different ways to meet your needs inside of that toolkit. For example, if you have a really big need for loving connection, emotional connection, Obviously, you can get that need met through a romantic relationship, but you also have to have some other ways to meet that need. You can get that need met by hanging out with your friends. You can get that need met by journaling. You can get that need met by, like being in nature and listening to a song that really makes you feel good. All of those may not be the thing that you need in a moment, but when you have several different options in your tool bag or your self-care kit, like I like to say, then you are more equipped to support yourself in meeting your needs. But like I said, I really just wanted to have this conversation specifically about your needs matter, is because I think so many of us have been conditioned in one way or another to believe that if we need something, it's needy. Like we literally are in survival mode, trying to do everything by ourselves. And it's just like, in this day and age, that is not going to get you very far. What is going to get you is burned out. That's what is going to get you. What is going to get you is exhausted and resentful, because as women, as feminine energy, we are communal. We need community. We need support. It's not even optional. It's essential. And because it's essential, it's also important that you know how to advocate for your needs. So I'm gonna, one more time. The first thing is, make sure you're saying it or stating it in a positive, loving, caring, kind way. Say it to somebody how you would like it to be said to you. Say it, I always like to say, say it from your heart space, because a lot of times when we're up in our head, we can be thinking through it and it can come out kind of icky. So say it in a way that you would like to receive it. 2, follow the need through. Ask again, remind, do whatever it is you need to do or say to support the people you love and care about in understanding how to show up for you. Then you want to paint the picture. So spell it out for them. Give very clear instruction on how this look for you. It's for them, but it's also for you. And it's also for you because it supports you in that 4th step, which is vetting and setting. If you don't know how it looks for somebody how you want it to look for somebody to be consistent, how are you going to determine if they're consistent? If you don't know what it means for somebody to make you feel special, how are you going to know if they are supporting you and feeling special? This is why you have to, this is another conversation for another day, but this is why you have to take the time to get to know yourself. The relationship between you and you is one of the most important relationships you're ever going to have in your life. And you handle it like you handle any other relationship. When you're dating somebody, when you're getting to know somebody, you ask questions, you spend time with them, quality time with them. And so you have to take that same initiative with yourself. You have to take that same initiative with yourself. So yeah, that's all I have for you. I think, like I said, it's very simple, and I like simplicity because it makes it easy for you to follow through on. It's simple, but it may not be easy because you're learning how to do this. And so you have to be patient with yourself, and you have to be compassionate with yourself, because it's gonna feel icky. And I'm not telling you something somebody told me. I'm telling you what I had to practice, which is how I learned these steps, is because I too was someone who prided myself in not needing anything from anyone, but that shit is tiresome and it gets old really quickly. So yes, you do have needs. And again, having needs doesn't make you needy. It makes you human. You're going to always have needs, and you're going to always need people around you who can support you in meeting those needs, and vice versa. That is literally that is a part of what relationships are. And so the better you get at communicating what you need, the easier it is to experience those things. So I asked this in the beginning, but I'm going to ask it again, and I really want you to let me know in the comments. On a scale of 1 to 10, not considering what you learned here, what you're going to go practice, but without knowing anything that I just said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good are you at getting your needs met? What would you say? 1 being absolutely awful, and then 10 being absolutely amazing. Tell me in the comments, how good are you at meeting your needs? Tell me, tell me. Okay, 7. That's good. That's better than average. So that's good. So a 7 is good. What would you say, Claire? What would you say based on, okay, a 5? That's average, you know, and it's room for improvement. But, you know, we never are going to get to a space in our lives where we're not growing, changing, evolving. And so that awareness is powerful. It lets you know where you are so that you can understand where you need to focus so that you can move forward. So I have a 7 and I have a 5. Tell me, based on what I shared, the 4 steps that I shared, which one of those steps would support you in moving forward? Like, which one of those things could you practice to take that 7 or that 5, even if it's just up 1 number? I struggle with friendships. I give too much, expecting to be treated the same. That is, I totally get that. What I would say to that, Claire, is, you know, I do think that relationships can be a mirror, but again, everybody is not the same, you know, as we are. And it's kind of harsh to expect people to show up the same way we do. And so in friendships, that is also obviously grounds for communicating needs. What I would do if I were you is I would get really clear on how you want people to show up for you, like in friendships, how you want them to show up for you. And then in the past, you probably, you know, like didn't get what you need, and, you know, maybe you felt resentful or whatever the case may be. But now that you have, you know, some new tools and some new awareness, at first I would get really clear on what it is I need. And then I would start communicating those things. So I wouldn't change, you know, who you are unless you are giving from an empty cup. Now that's different. But if you're just being who you naturally are and you have, you know, the energy and the heart posture to give in the way that you do, I wouldn't change that. But what I would do instead is I would express to my friends how, you know, I need them to show up for me. And again, people who love you and, you know, when you're in the right relationships, they want to show up for you, especially when you're a person who shows up for other people. And sometimes that overgiving is also, that's also a representation of that trauma response that we talked about in the beginning. Is sometimes we think we have to, for lack of a better term, do for love. Like we have to give to get something. And that's totally not the case. Thank you. I get easily frustrated. So communicating in a more loving way is what I will practice more. Absolutely. And, you know, like I said, I already know that you are a person who appreciates personal growth and personal development, because obviously you wouldn't be here if you didn't. And it will benefit you to kind of take that into consideration, because you know how hard it is to change. And especially as we get older, it's like, it's not that we can't, but it's just like sometimes, you know, I'm 35. And so it's just like, there's certain things that I've been practicing for 35 years. So it's not going to change overnight. I have to start practicing, you know, a new way of being. And so that's the best thing that you can do is when you're advocating for those needs, remember, you're advocating from a space of people in my life love and support me. They want to support me in meeting my needs. And that's a much different space than if we're going back to, you know, we'll say that wounded little girl who believes that nobody is dependable. Nobody can help me. I have to do it alone. If you're asking from that space, yeah, you're going to be frustrated. You're going to be resentful. You're going to be scared. You're going to be expecting that these people are not going to show up for you. And so even too, just that little tweak can support you in really getting those needs met, like asking from a space of knowing that you're worthy and having love and support. So I'm super, super excited to see how this turns out for you ladies. Again, you can come here every Tuesday. I'm going to drop gems. I'm going to give you something of value. But if you don't take what I say and actually apply it to your life, nothing is going to change. And it's not because it doesn't work. It's because you're not actually working it. So you have to take the time. And the key word is practice these things. It's gonna feel icky at first. Like I said, you are doing something different than what you've probably been doing for years. So it's gonna be perfectly normal if this feels icky at first. That does not mean stop doing it. It means keep doing it until it's second nature. I love using the example of like when you first learned how to drive. You had to get in the car. It probably was one of the most nerve-wracking experiences ever. You were nervous. You had to step by step remember everything. Okay, put the keys in, adjust the mirror, hands on the steering wheel, all the things. And you still do all of those steps, except now they're second nature. You don't have to consciously think about doing it. It's on autopilot now. And so at some point, once you continue practice communicating and advocating for your needs, it's also going to be second nature. And you're going to, when you operate from that space, you'll find that you have more people around you that actually support you in meeting your needs, because it's not going to feel good to keep asking and people are not showing up. That is why you have the vet and set process. Give them the space to do it, and you don't have to take it personal. It's either they can or they can't, and it's not personal. But again, you're your number one priority, and so you have to prioritize having those conversations so you can get what it is you need. That's it, my loves. That's it. I want you to take what I said. Consider which step you can afford to practice the most, and practice it. Not once, not twice. Practice it every chance you get. Think about, maybe if you're not comfortable or well practiced in meeting your needs, you may have to, no problem. You may have to write a list of what it looks like. And you have different type of relationships. I personally believe we're in relationship with everything. So you have romantic relationships, like Claire said. You have friendships. You have work, business relationships. You are literally in relationship with your money. You're in relationship with your exercise regimen. Like, you're in relationship with everything. And so get clear on your needs in your relationships so that you can clearly articulate them. So that's it. I really appreciate you ladies for sharing this time and this space with me. So until next time, love yourself, know what you want, move your body, go get it, go give it. And as always, tell a homegirl, bring a homegirl, and I will see you next Tuesday. Bye, homegirl.